On December 11, 1941, the world witnessed one of the most fateful decisions of World War II. Nazi Germany declared war on the United States. Just 4 days earlier, Japan had attacked Pearl Harbor, pulling America into the Pacific conflict. But few could have predicted that Adolf Hitler would voluntarily broaden that conflict by declaring war on the world's most industrially powerful nation. This single decision would later be viewed as one of Hitler's greatest strategic mistakes. The story begins in Berlin. The German capital was calm on that cold winter morning. Newspapers still buzzed with reports of Japan's stunning attack on Pearl Harbor. Hitler felt triumphant. To him, Japan's blow against the United States was a sign that the global balance of power was shifting. He believed America was weak, unprepared, and divided. He imagined that by supporting Japan, Germany would crush the Allies from both sides of the world. But beneath this confidence lay miscalculations. By late 1941, the war in the Soviet Union had stalled. Operation Barbarossa had failed to achieve its goals. German troops were freezing outside Moscow, supplies were running out, officers were alarmed, yet Hitler refused to acknowledge reality. Instead, he saw a new opportunity. If America was distracted by Japan, Germany could still win in Europe. On the morning of December 11th, Hitler entered the Reichstag to deliver a dramatic speech. The hall was decorated with Nazi banners, the atmosphere filled with tension. German officials, diplomats, and military leaders watched expectantly as Hitler walked to the podium. He declared, "The German Reich considers itself in a state of war with the United States of America." Applause erupted from loyal party members, but many officers quietly exchanged worried glances. They knew Germany was already fighting Britain, the Soviet Union, and numerous other nations. Opening another front against a country with enormous industrial potential seemed reckless. But in Nazi Germany, no one dared to oppose the Führer. Hitler's speech was fierce and theatrical. He accused the United States of provoking Germany, supporting Britain, and preparing for war long before Pearl Harbor. He mocked Roosevelt, portraying him as a warmonger. At the same time, Hitler portrayed Germany as the victim of American aggression, an ironic claim given the Nazi invasions across Europe. While Hitler spoke in Berlin, Washington was already preparing its response. In the U.S. Capitol, President Franklin Roosevelt received Germany's declaration of war with calm determination. There was no hesitation. America had already declared war on Japan on December 8th, and the nation was united as never before. When the news arrived that Germany had now declared war too, Roosevelt simply said, "We expected this. Now the matter is settled." Congress reacted swiftly. Within hours, both the Senate and the House voted unanimously, with no opposition, to declare war on Germany. For the first time in American history, the nation was fully committed to fighting in both the Atlantic and Pacific theaters. Across the United States, the reaction was mixed with anger and resolve. Newspapers printed bold headlines, "Germany declares war." Some Americans were shocked that Hitler had taken such a step. Others believed the conflict had been inevitable. Factories accelerated production even further. Tanks, planes, ships, ammunition, and supplies rolled off assembly lines around the clock. Young men who had rushed to enlist after Pearl Harbor now prepared for a global war that stretched from Europe to Africa to the Pacific. Women entered the workforce in record numbers. The U.S. economy transformed almost overnight into a war machine. Meanwhile, in Germany, propaganda tried to frame the declaration of war as a necessary move. But among military leaders, fear grew. The German Navy already struggled against British and Canadian convoys in the Atlantic. Now American shipyards and industries, far more powerful, were entering the war. The U-boat commanders celebrated briefly, believing they could cripple American shipping, but even they knew the long-term odds were against them. Hitler expected Japan to attack the Soviet Union from the east, creating a two-front assault against Stalin, but Japan never did. Instead, Japan focused on Southeast Asia and the Pacific. This meant the Soviet Union remained fully focused on the European front, exactly what Hitler wanted to avoid. So Germany gained an enemy, but received no meaningful aid in return. By declaring war on the United States, Germany united the strongest industrial democracies, Britain, the United States, and eventually the revived Soviet war machine against the Axis powers. The war was no longer contained. It had become truly global. On December 11th, Roosevelt addressed the American people again. His tone was steady, but forceful. He said, "The forces of barbarism have made their last move. We will not stop until they are defeated." Across America, families listened in silence. Soldiers packed their bags. Ships prepared to sail. Factories worked through the night. The country was now fully at war. For Hitler, the declaration of war on the United States was meant to show strength. Instead, it marked the beginning of Germany's downfall. American industrial power would soon flood the war with endless supplies, tanks, trucks, airplanes, weapons. American troops would arrive in North Africa, Italy, France, and Germany itself. December 11, 1941, transformed the war. It united the Allies, awakened American military might, and sealed the fate of Nazi Germany. Hitler had opened a door he could never close.